Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, what a day for it.
25?
Physically or mentally? I think physically 25, mentally 35. But no, it's a good day and nice to be here around all the boys and obviously lots of nice messages in the morning, talk to mum and dad, so great way to start the day.
You finished training early today because it's your birthday.
I wish. I think it's because they want me to go upstairs and make the cake for them. Homemade, by the way.
Been a whirlwind couple of weeks. How's the body and also mentally, how have you found that challenge of the last hour?
Yeah, the body's okay. Obviously, physically, you're always playing with some sort of fatigue when you're a professional footballer. This last couple of weeks, the fatigue's been a little bit more than normal, but mate, amazing experiences. Really cool to go away with New Zealand and play against some of those players that you've only dreamed about seeing before. So mentally, I'd say in a very good space. Enjoying the process of working hard and improving and taking those next steps, both here with Auckland and away with New Zealand.
You're obviously in the running for the World Cup next year. A couple of years ago, would you have ever thought a World Cup was possible?
I actually remember thinking, this is before I got called up for the All Whites, when I was over in Sweden, I was thinking, man, I hope one day we play like, the Nations Cup and no one decides to show up and maybe I'll get a cap sometime. And now to be like, in the mix regularly for squads and being, an option and obviously having played a decent amount this last year, like it's pretty good timing and pretty awesome to be in that conversation. But, last time we had World Cup qualifiers 2 weeks after I did my ACL, so, I'm not taking anything for granted. It's one step at a time, and of course the most important game is still the next one on the weekend. So.
Given what you've been through the last few years, how special would it be to make that work?
Oh, it'd be incredible. I think I'm excited to see the draw on December the 5th. I'm hoping we get Holland, so my dad will be stoked. He's Dutch, so yeah, just having a moment like that would be, I think, a nice summary of all the hard work that's gone into the career, and we'll continue to do my best to get there.
Frustrating sort of day, you got a point last week, but frustrating sort of day. Steve, post-match, not very happy. Did anyone get the hair dryer?
I mean, difficult when you play against a team that comes with, I think they probably played as well as they can. I don't know, I'm not on their team, I don't know, but in my mind, like they played a very good game and we didn't really get going, we were subpar, we all know that and everyone's taking responsibility, so not the best day on the park for us, but something that we can probably learn from and also at the start of the season important to take that and make sure that you learn the lessons both personally and as a team, and I'm sure we'll grow from it and be better as the season moves on.
Is it a good sign that you're almost having a crisis meeting on Monday after a draw? That sort of shows the standards here?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of expectation around the team. You saw how the season went last year, and I think, we do set ourselves up to try and win every single game, so when you don't do that, there will be some internal disappointment. Also as an individual, you're thinking, what can you do better? How can you improve for the next game? So again, it's part of sport, isn't it? It's healthy to look at yourself and try and improve for next time.
Can you tell us what it was like playing against Colombia and Ecuador? You mentioned the players they've got. What was that actual experience like being on the field against those kind of teams?
Surreal. I think the national anthem for both Colombia and Ecuador was mad, eh? The whole stadium was standing up, singing. That's when you realise, these guys are so passionate, and this is football on another level when you're on the global stage like that. So for me, like at start, a little bit obviously like wow, but then you settle in pretty quick and you go through your normal processes, and there are a lot of good learnings I think for us as a team and also for myself, because when you play against those players that are at top level, they show you what you can be better at more quickly than before, so it was pretty cool.
And you mentioned Holland. Any other teams that stand out now that you know who's in the pots and who New Zealand might get?
Yeah, obviously, I'd love to draw against Sweden, but that's not going to be possible because they're still qualifying and they'll be in pot 4. So, I don't want to ask for too much, just Holland if possible. But, obviously Louis from Belgium, so that would be a nice connection, I think, playing Japan for Hiroki. Like, you always want to kind of play against something that you have a connection with, so if we could hope for something, that would be good.
So this week you've got back Dan, Nando and Jake, all as options at the back. Is that able to instill some confidence in you, knowing you've got 3 solid options now back to pair alongside you in the two central defensive roles?
Definitely. I think it's a sign of any good, healthy team that when there's competition for places and there's also real good quality guys there, you know, guys that you can trust, guys that you have a relationship with, that you've played with for a while now. So, yeah, good options all around, I think, for the team.
I think the Jets have scored 9 goals, which I think is second or third in the league, and you guys have actually only scored 6, so it sort of shows, even though they haven't got the wins yet, that they're still a really good attacking side. I suppose, what sort of threat have you guys been talking about in training this week about sort of what they can pose to you?
Yeah, Jets obviously a very good, progressive, ball-playing team. Create a lot of chances. Don't forget they won the Australia Cup as well, so they've tasted success already. I think they have a lot of young players that are quite driven and progressive and want to play forwards, so it will be tough. Remember playing them last year and it was difficult games, so we'll be well prepared to try and combat that this weekend.
Just last thing, do you sort of see them as a potential for like a launch pad or sort of a momentum builder going into Derby week next week?
I don't think we need any more motivation for the Derby. With every week you kind of want to give it your best. Of course momentum's important, and I think we're started off the season quite well with 11 points from 5 games. Obviously this last week wasn't a good performance, so you kind of do want to set it right and play better this weekend, so we'll definitely be looking to try and do that.
Last season there probably wasn't a lot of performances where Steve came out quite in the same way that he has now and expressed disappointment. Is there anything that changes in training this week because of last week's performance?
I think so. Like, there's always going to be a natural reaction, like from each player and also from the collective group. A bit more intensity, a bit more focus to kind of try and nail down those small details that we let ourselves down with last weekend. Also, as a football player, like, it's part of your job to accept criticism, to learn from feedback. So it's part of it, and you try and get better from it.
And after such a big, I guess, week last week, and then you sort of not only start Auckland, you also get captaincy in that situation. How was that?
That was a beautiful moment, mostly for Mum and Dad, I think. So proud and happy, and they text me before every game, and we call after each game, and like Dad's stoked. He's full into Auckland FC now, which is pretty cool. So yeah, well, that was obviously a super proud moment, both for myself and for the people close to me.
And just a thought, how are you feeling generally? Like, it feels like you've been playing non-stop. You played so much last season, all the All Whites duties through all the windows, 90 minutes in those games again this season. You know, how are you feeling with this massive schedule, really? Yeah,
it's been hard for sure, but I'm feeling great about it. Like, obviously happy that my body's holding strong and trying to stay level, like consistent. Obviously enjoy the good moments, but also be quite relaxed about the whole process of it. It's kind of what you dream about when you're younger, when you're training all the time. You're training, and you're hoping that you'll get an opportunity like this. So now that it's come, I've definitely taken a step back, reflected and enjoyed it, and definitely makes you want to keep going.
What was the general feeling after that game?
Yeah, slightly disappointed, obviously. I think we've spoken about it now. That wasn't our best performance. Everyone was a little bit behind what their usual self is, so yeah. Then again, to come away with a point, you know, when you've played maybe one of your worst games is obviously not a bad thing either. So yeah, I think it's good that we got another game this week and we're going to be able to turn it around hopefully.
Any key reason why the team might have been a bit flat?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, we spoke about it during the week, but I think it's more just looking at each other and saying, yeah, it wasn't good enough. You know, sometimes a player can have a bad day, but if 11 players are having a bad day, it's just not ideal. So yeah.
What about you overall? How are you enjoying the shift and this new team, city, everything?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I've spoken about it a couple of times now. Really enjoying myself here, and obviously the football as well. But I think the biggest thing is just off the pitch stuff. You know, obviously in a good place mentally, and that obviously helps. You know, when you're winning games and stuff as well. So I'm really enjoying myself.
There's probably a lot of expectation around this team given what happened last year. So when you have a game that's a draw and everyone's not so happy, is that kind of an unusual situation to be in as a footballer?
Yeah, I just think, you know, even as a group, we went into that change room and it felt like a loss. I think that just says a lot about how we are as a team. And you know, you can sort of turn that into a positive and say, I mean, we drew a game, we weren't happy, and we felt like we got spanked 6-0. So I think, yeah, going forward, you know, we're still undefeated. We've won a lot of games, you know, we're not far off the top of the table. So I think, yeah, it's not a great feeling, but yeah, it's just more motivation to get one up again.
Is there a feeling of like that bounce back then this week? Is there more in training or more around the individuals?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think as a group we spoke and we said we got to put what we did on the weekend behind us and go into this game even more fired up, to prove a point not only to us but obviously the fans and stuff as well, and to Steve and all the rest. But yeah, like I said, we knew it wasn't good enough. So yeah, we're going to be out there this weekend, hopefully proving that wrong.
First goal?
Yeah.
Did it feel good to score?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. No, it was. It's obviously a good feeling. Any goal is a good feeling, but obviously your first one. Yeah, obviously really happy with that, and I guess that's a positive that I can take out from the game. So yeah,
with the talent in this team, can you always feel like you're ready to rip, sort of thing?
What do you mean by that? So
like against any team in this league, there's enough talent in this side to really to make a stand.
Yeah, no, we feel really confident every game. Even before the game last weekend, it wasn't like we didn't feel confident or anything. It's just things happen in a game and things change or whatever it is. But yeah, I think as a group we go out every week, not knowing we're going to win, but expecting to win. And I think that's a real strength of ours. Is obviously the confidence that we take. When you're high in confidence, you've already got an advantage. So yeah, I think when we look around the room and even within each other, we know that we've got the team that can win everything. So yeah, for us it's about going out every week and just proving that.
Did Steve light it up in the dressing room afterwards, or was it?
Nah.
Didn't need to.
Nah, I think he knew that we weren't. He knew that we knew we weren't good. We obviously we got told, but also in saying that, it's not something that we need to dwell on. Like we all know that it wasn't good. It's not like it's happened 4 weeks in a row. And like I said, we got a draw. So for us, it was just knowing that it wasn't good enough, and more so this week was just trying to nullify everything that sort of went wrong. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Is it a positive sign for the team that you've got a dual threat over the ball and free kicks? Trenny hitting the woodwork and you bearing it?
Yeah, obviously, you got to score goals somehow, and that's one of the ways to do it. So yeah, we sort of speak, with the set piece coaches and obviously within the players, and I think if it's a little bit further out, that's more so for Franny, and I'm happy for him to let them. If he's going to take them like that, hopefully the next one goes in. But we talk about these things, and obviously it's good to have, like you said, dual threat. Definitely helps.
Are you able to pick certain skills up off each other? If you say he's better from further out, is there things you can take from how he does it and vice versa?
Yeah, for sure. But he's the expert at that, and I just let him sort of do his thing when it comes to that. I don't want to try to take that away from him, because in the end of the day, he's got obviously a wonderful left foot, and a lot of power behind that foot. So he can have that for as long as he wants.
When I talked to you after the game, you still hadn't watched the goal back.
Yeah.
What was it like watching it back?
Yeah, no, it was obviously good. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't watch it back. It's funny. Obviously, when you score a good goal or whatever, but it's in open play, there's not many people filming it. But when you see someone lining up for a free kick, there's obviously a lot of cameras out, and I was just getting sent like loads of different angles, and it was obviously great. It's obviously I hadn't scored yet, and like I said, to get that one out the way I did was good. But it was a good feeling.
It must be a really nice feeling when the technique goes exactly how you wanted it to, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's one of those things you've taken a free kick, you'll understand, like as soon as you hit it, you can almost feel like you've hit it right. And yeah, for me, I sort of knew as soon as I hit it that it was a chance. So yeah, very happy.
And looking from the outside, it feels like you've adjusted really quickly to a new team, new club, new country, teammates. Is that how it's been for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a strength of mine. I'm obviously well travelled. I've been a fair few places now, and the adaptation period sometimes for other players can be a little bit longer or whatever. But I think it's just how I am as a human as well. I'm very easygoing, like to have a good laugh, and I don't tend to struggle in that sense. And then obviously, football, it's a league that I played in, so it's not like I need to adapt with that, and that obviously makes a big difference. But overall, on and off the pitch, I feel like I've adapted really well.
What was the main concern, if you like, from last year?
I think all the players were flat. They looked a little bit flat. They weren't.
Can you put your finger on why?
Yeah, maybe we overcooked them a little bit in training the week before. We had the week off, obviously, and then we trained them quite hard the week leading into the game. So it might have had a little bit to do with it, maybe the heat as well. But we're not using any excuses. That's just for me to look at, make sure that we get them right for this week.
Heat, obviously, around this week too. So do you hear things back a little bit, or?
Yeah, we have this week actually. It was a big week last week. We trained 5 times, and this week we're only training 3 times. So definitely should be going into the game fresher. But I think always have to take responsibility as well. We all have, and I didn't enjoy the performance. I think we've got to do a lot better. Real positive coming out of it though is we're still unbeaten. So we're the only team unbeaten in the competition at the moment, and we've got a chance to pick up 3 points against Newcastle and move towards the derby.
Do you give it to them in the dressing room afterwards, or do you need?
I spoke to them at half time. Not so much in the dressing room afterwards, but the next day I spoke to them. I wasn't screaming at them, but I think they need to understand that the performance wasn't up to what we expect from them, and they did. They do.
You haven't had many situations like that in your time with Auckland.
Yeah.
Does that change the way that you work a week like this in the league?
Obviously, we're trying to freshen them up a little bit this week, but they've responded really well. I can see from what we've done at training, they're switched on, they're ready. Maybe we lost a bit of focus also in the international week. We had a lot going on, obviously, with Francis and Jesse away, a couple of injuries, suspensions. So, there's no excuse this week. So it's a massive game for us. It doesn't matter that they're down the bottom. They're still a very good attacking team. They've scored 9 goals. They've conceded 14. So, there's areas that we think we can score goals, and we want to be at our best to do that.
In terms of them sort of coming into this week, and I guess your focus for them, are you as a coach different at all? Like in terms of, I guess you probably in other teams had more situations where you're like that. I mean, it was a draw. So. Yeah,
no, listen, it was, I just expect more from them. We got a draw out of the game. It wasn't, it wasn't a loss, but the good thing is that they're disappointed with the draw as well. So that's something we can rectify this week against Newcastle. We need to work a little bit harder than what we did against Brisbane as well. We spoke a lot about second balls. We didn't really pick up. We knew how physical Brisbane were, but we've definitely moved on from that. I don't want to talk too much about it because you need to switch on to the next game, and we've done that already. I spoke to them afterwards, and we left it at that after. I know you guys are talking about it now, but it's not something that we're speaking about at the moment. It's about Newcastle and picking up 3 points at home, and then we've got the derby after that, and hopefully we want to try and get as many points from our home games as possible.
Could your captain be back for the derby?
No, he'll be back the game after the Central Coast game. So we can't force him, or not force him, but bring him back too early, especially with a hamstring. It's likely to go again, so we just make sure that he's prepared and ready for when he does play next, which he's on track for Central Coast, I think.
On injuries, you've got Nando, Dan and Jake all available at the same time, the first time.
Yep.
How good is that?
Fantastic. Obviously 3 very good players for us. I have to make a decision, obviously. So, but yeah, it's good to have Dan back. Obviously him and Nando played most of the games last year, and great combination. I think you've seen this season with Jake and Dan also been a great combination. Last week, wasn't, like I said, wasn't the best defensive display, but it's wasn't just them two. It was everyone. So so there could be a couple of changes. We've got Marley back as well. Jake Brimmer also coming back. His shoulder is going really well, so hopefully he should be back as well if he can finish training tomorrow. So a few options, everyone on alert to play at their highest. Otherwise, there will be change.